Today on Week in Review, MPL's Ross fires back on Mark Carney's announcement. Provincial Minister of Health visits the Northwest, and debate over Canada's energy future. Hello and thank you for joining us on Week in Review. I'm Helen Asante. The debate over Canada's energy future heated up over the past few weeks, with BC, Alberta and Ottawa clashing over pipeline policies and the oil tanker moratorium. Local MPL's Ross weighed in with pressure on the federal government to bring everyone to the table. The national fight over Canada's energy future is being felt here in the Northwest. MPL's Ross weighs in on growing tensions.
To me, I think it's a good opportunity for Canadians of British Columbia to talk about energy globally and locally. Because right now, BC, you're already shipping out coal from Prince Rupert. You're already shipping out natural gas. And there's a strong possibility that Prince Rupert will be shipping out ammonia. So you're already shipping out propane. You're shipping out tremendous amounts of energy already. And that energy is on our coasts. Not to mention all diesel going to our communities. Not only just by boat, but by truck. Going out to our remote communities so people can keep lights on.
Of bigger national strategies to boost Canada's competitiveness, including to realize our country's full potential as an energy superpower.
This federal government promised that they'd turn us into an energy superpower, but they refuse to talk about the tanker ban unless there's a project proposed and applied for in BC. If Alberta ever proposes the application, get this submitted, and it gets accepted by Canada, and then it gets accepted to be fast-tracked, then Canada will have to answer officially on whether or not that tanker ban gets lifted.
He comments on Poilievre's promise to let tankers carry oil through the BC oceans.
The federal Liberals inferred the same thing. But once they got into power, they pulled it back. And there's a lot of confusion about what the provincial authority is in respect to that type of a ban. It's really not up to BC. They can make all the declarations they want, but when you're talking about a project that goes across provincial boundaries, it's actually Canada's responsibility.
Asking the MP the impact on First Nations should the ban be lifted or maintained.
That all depends on which First Nation sees a tanker ban as limiting their future. Nisga'a-isms, when the tanker ban first came in, they opposed it. They said it should be their treaty right to make their own decision. Lac-Oulam's, they opposed that tanker ban, saying that they weren't fully consulted. So that's really why the Liberals don't want to talk about that, because now you're starting to open up a whole pile of different processes.
CFTK-TV News, Helen Asante. Up next, the Mayor of Terrace speaks with Prime Minister Mark Carney. The Terrace Mayor got the chance to speak with Prime Minister Mark Carney during his visit. CFTK Kilmaslin has more.
In the later half of last week, Prime Minister Mark Carney made an appearance in Terrace to make an announcement about some major projects that his government was planning to put on the fast track to completion. And during his trip to the city, he also ended up having a discussion with Terrace's Mayor Sean Bouitosh. Bouitosh later revealed in an interview some information on what the two talked about.
Really just needed to emphasize that if they were going to, we were there to support if this is the path forward. We really want to be economic drivers for the provincial government and the federal government, but we cannot leave the municipality of Terrace in the dark. We really are the epicenter of a lot of these major projects. When you think about LNG Canada, Cedar LNG, Silisms, the expansion in the port and all the projects going on in Prince Rupert, and then of course we get into the Tahltan Nation within the Golden Triangle, and we think about Bruce Jack and Red Chris, and that's not even mentioning all the exploratory work and other mines that are being looked at in that area. So we have to make sure that this doesn't financially impact the taxpayers of the city of Terrace, because quite frankly, the LNG Canada project did, and we can't have that again.
Huitosh also said that supporting the government in this endeavor should ultimately be a win for the city and its residents, and again reiterated that they refuse to be left in the dark about what is happening with those local projects. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin.
Prime Minister Mark Carney's recent announcement and fast-track project agenda continue to divide opinions, and MP Ellis Ross is weighing in, offering bold, unapologetic commentary on what he believes the region truly needs.
The reason for this meeting is to announce the second group, the second tranche of major projects that will be referred to what's known as the Major Projects Office.
Well, that's the thing about all these announcements, these projects. They were always going in the right direction, with or without this Major Projects Office, with or without Carney's announcements. I mean, it seems to me that this government is taking the easy road on announcing projects that were already announced. Like with or without the fast-tracking, Niskalism's Psy LNG project was already well on its way.
The Major Project Office will also help coordinate timely approvals of all three elements.
The Major Projects Office is not staffed. They don't have any environmental legislation that they can rely on. They don't have any regulations. And so my understanding is the Major Project Office is there to give you tips on how to get your project approved faster. Well, I could do that. I don't have to spend millions of dollars of taxpayers' dollars to give you tips on how to get a project fast-tracked.
Silism comprises a new gas pipeline, a new electricity transmission line, and a new floating LNG export facility.
The Haisla, my band, has bought the certificate for the reserve number 6 for the LNG project. Chevron left town. Well, Haisla bought that project for the reserve lands, and that's permitted for an LNG facility. Now you combine that with a certificate with Enbridge. Enbridge bought that pipeline certificate off Chevron. That's alive and well. You don't have to go back and get another certificate. So all you need now is some investor or some proponent or some LNG company to build an LNG facility on our reserve number 6 down channel, and you've got a shovel-ready project ready to go. You don't need any more environmental assessments. So I'll be encouraging this government, number 1, invest in Stewart. They need your help. They've got international potential, and invest in the LNG project on Indian Reserve number 6 for the Haisla Nation. And we can get those 2 projects up and running quickly. You don't have to re-announce LNG Canada Phase 2. You don't have to re-announce Niskalism Psy LNG. You can get these projects off the ground, and you can fast-track that if you really want Canada to be an energy superpower or to be the best performing country in the G7.
After the break, the local city fire department here in Terrace gave to a grade 4 student. The provincial health minister made a stop to Terrace on Thursday. Local representatives and leaders, including Skinner MLA Claire Rattay, welcomed her as she visited key health sites and met with Indigenous partners. Her visit included stops in Kitimat and at the Seven Sisters Mental Health Facility and the First Nations Health Alliance, calling their welcoming and partnership essential to improving culturally safe care across northern communities.
It's incredibly important that people living in rural, remote, and Indigenous communities have access to care, and achieving more equitable access to care is a huge focus of me, my ministry, and of our government. And by working directly in partnership with First Nations through the First Nations Health Authority, we are building up a system of First Nations primary care initiative.
Following urgent calls from nurses about staffing shortages, rise in mental health and toxic drug pressures, the minister said it was mandatory to see first-hand gaps and progress in local health care.
One of the reasons why I came up to Kitimat and Terrace was to meet with First Nations and see firsthand some of the Indigenous-led primary care and mental health and substance use care that they are leading in this area. We know that this region has been particularly hard hit by the toxic drug crisis, and our government is so committed to building out a continuum of care for people, and it has to be done in partnership. And seeing Indigenous-led facilities like that are being developed by the Northern First Nations Alliances, it's just incredibly meaningful, and I know it's going to make a real difference in people's lives.
Adding that expanding access to mental health and addiction care remains a top priority for the province.
Ensuring that people have better access to healthcare is a top goal. And one of the ways we can do that is by using virtual technologies and apps and ways for people to access care, whether it's mental health and substance use care or using teledoc or virtual care options in clinics and in hospitals. We are seeing more of this being integrated into healthcare settings with a lot of success. And it is something that will continue to be working with First Nations and with rural and remote communities to develop more of, at the same time, while of course continuing to build up the number of nurses and doctors and allied healthcare workers, the people that deliver the care face-to-face that is always going to be so critically and vitally important.
CFTK-TV News, Helen Asante. And now for a closer look at a recent opportunity that the local city fire department here in Terrace gave to a grade 4 student. CFTK Kilmaslin reports.
Back during Fire Prevention Week in October, the Terrace Fire Department went around to various local schools, and along with their usual safety advice, they also offered a unique opportunity to grade 4 students.
As we went to each school, the fire crews were able to put ballots out with each of the teachers, and the grade 4 students were able to put their names in to be potentially chosen to be fire chief for a day.
Around 200 students put in ballots, and after completing a draw, the fire department ended up selecting a young girl named Chloe from the Sualax Community School as the winner. She then got the chance to take part in quite the extensive amount of activities throughout her day on the job.
So we started by showing up to her school with the chief vehicle, the command vehicle, and one of our fire engines. We picked up Chloe from school and proceeded to drive to McDonald's, where the city mayor, RCMP inspector, the fire chief, myself, and BC Ambulance, we were able to have a meal that was sponsored by McDonald's. And so Chloe had the unique adventure of being able to speak with some of the officials within the city of Terrace. From there, we came back to the firehouse. She was able to participate in truck apparatus checks first thing in the morning with the fire crews that were on shift. She got assigned some personal fire protective gear that she was able to wear. And from that point forward, she engaged in the day-to-day activities that our fire crews go through on a daily basis.
Some of those activities included putting out a simulated and controlled fire set by the department and speaking with the dispatch center to get a better understanding of how calls to a fire center are handled. Terrace Fire Chief Joel Broson said that he really enjoyed the day and talked more about the benefits that he believes an event like this can bring.
I really believe, as fire chief for the city of Terrace, that instilling confidence in our young people, showing them that underneath the uniform that each one of us wear is a human, someone that also has a family at home. And we love interacting with the students and with everyone within the city of Terrace, but especially having Chloe participate with us. She was so eager to learn, so helpful, so willing to try every single adventure that we had planned for her. And all in all, the City of Terrace Fire Department just had a fantastic time with her.
Broson last said that he has high hopes that the department will continue to be able to keep holding this event in the future. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Kale Maslin.
Still to come, a local casino opened up a new area. The BC legislature has narrowly passed a confidence bill on the North Coast transmission line with deciding vote from the Speaker. Premier David Eby had staked his new Democrat government on the bill, which passed 47 to 46. All NDP legislative members voted in favor of the bill, while all opposition Conservatives, 2 Greens and 3 Independents voted against. The bill for the planned $6 billion power line between Prince George and Terrace is now awaiting final approval by the Lieutenant Governor. The planned power line would serve several resource projects in northwestern BC. Those include mines and the Silesm LNG projects. The Terrace RCMP are currently investigating a case that involved a man going missing. The missing man's name is Liv Tremblay, and his last reported sighting was at his own personal residence, and he also might be associated with an older model gray Ford Ranger that has a white canopy. Tremblay's description is that of a 24-year-old Caucasian male who is around 6'2", weighing about 160 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Anyone who has information on where he might be located is asked to contact the Terrace RCMP. We look at the reaction of our local MLA about a recent death at the Kitimat General Hospital. CFTK-TV reports.
A few weeks ago, a 17-year-old Indigenous boy named Vincent died at the Kitimat Hospital while he was said to be waiting for a CT scan that could have shown that he had a congenital hernia. Skeena MLA Claire Rattay has since taken action to get to the bottom of how something like this could have happened, while also pointing out why she believes Kitimat CT scanner still isn't operational.
First thing I did was I reached out to the minister's chief of staff and I informed her of what happened, and I told her that I expected a quick response. It does not make sense to me why the CT scanner is still not running. The community fundraised for it back in 2023, and I know what's going on here. They don't have the staff and they don't have the money to operate it. This ministry is probably frustrated that the community fundraised for a piece of equipment that they have no way to staff because they've made such a mess of our province's budget. They don't have the money to operate these things, and they've made such a mess of our healthcare system.
Rattay said she still hadn't gotten a response from the health minister on her questions related to this death, which led to her bringing it up in the recent question period. She next mentioned that an incident like this one is not a one-off event in northern BC's healthcare system.
This is just one example that is recent and incredibly egregious, but this is not by any means an isolated incident. There are people that have been dismissed that ended up having severe blood clots in their lungs that went undiagnosed. There was a woman recently that has cerebral palsy that she was going in for weeks complaining of problems with her hip. And they weren't able to diagnose until she finally got a CT scan done in Terrace because she advocated for herself. And it turns out she'd been trying to get around with cerebral palsy with a fractured hip for 7 weeks. This is just, it's insanity. It's like we live in a third world country.
Rattay has also called for an independent review into Vincent's death, and she said that she would be sending an official letter to the minister about that request too. BC Health Minister Josie Osborne provided a statement expressing her condolences to Vincent's family, while also urging any family in a similar situation with concerns to contact the Patient Care Quality Office in order to make sure matters of that nature are looked into. And according to Northern Health, after significant planning, preparation, and renovation work, they expect CT services in Kitimat to become available by the spring of 2026. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Kale Maslin.
Up next is a look at a program that is dedicated to cleaning up garbage throughout the city of Terrace. CFTK Maslin has more.
The Garage Community Space in Terrace recently wrapped up its Downtown Cleanup Beautification Initiative for 2025 after running it for the past 6 months. It's a program that the Garage of the City of Terrace partnered up together on, and the Garage's executive director explained how that partnership came about.
We connected with staff from the City of Terrace, the recreational and parks staff, and they made a map. And the map was of a certain section, mainly the downtown core of Terrace. And we had a contract with them then to clean up the streets within this map of streets that we were responsible for. And we got together a crew of people. We met together and we started talking with the staff of the city in March of this year. And by the end of April, we had our crew together and we went to start doing the cleanup.
Cleanup days occurred twice a week where the crew would meet up and then start picking up garbage for around a couple hours and then put them in rolling bins that were provided by the city. And while people could volunteer their services to the program, they had a more specific group of people in mind when recruiting was taking place.
We got together a crew of people that a lot of them have been through difficult situations or have had struggles, so it's made it hard for them to work or even to have full-time work. And so, not all of them, but a number of them. And so we got together and we had a initiation. We had a code of conduct that we all signed together about how we would be on the job and things that we expected, and then that's how we got our team together.
Over the course of their cleaning efforts, they managed to fill up 108 total bags of garbage, dispose of over 60 needles, and find some uncommon items like phones, clothing, coins, and even a kitty litter box. The program also got support from E360 Solutions, who gave them the garbage bags. And while it isn't a done deal at the moment, the Garage's organizers are hoping to continue running this program next year as well. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Kale Maslin.
A local casino opened up a new area during the weekend that is catered towards sports fans. CFTK Maslin shares more.
This past weekend saw the opening of a new area in a casino that is meant to give local residents a dynamic and immersive way to experience their favorite sports. Chance's Casino Terrace opened its brand new Proline Sportsbook Lounge on Sunday in time for the latest slate of NFL games and the CFL's Grey Cup Championship game. Aaron Mayette, the British Columbia Lottery Corporation's senior manager of sports, talked a bit about what features of the lounge might really stand out to people.
Well, one of the main things, of course, is a 19 by 6 foot display, a high-def display that we brought in. And, understanding that the viewing experience is one of the main things that us sports fans enjoy. We'll have our Proline betting terminals there as well. So if for those that want to place a little action on the game, they can have that option too.
And as a part of the opening, the lounge was set to give out a set of prizes whose total value was said to be quite high.
It's up to about $10,000 worth of prizes, I believe, and there'll be some Proline swag and just some fun little giveaways. But the grand prize will be a trip down to Vancouver, flight, hotel, paid for at Park Casino. You get a Visa gift cards, Uber gift cards, and you get to watch the Canucks versus Edmonton Oilers at Rogers Arena. So pretty neat experience for those that want to participate and have the opportunity to come down.
This lounge is the first of its kind to be opened in the Skeena region and the sixth total one in the province of BC. Mayette also mentioned how discussions with the City of Terrace's leadership proved that they were great partners to work with and that they would help further the BCLC's goal of spreading across the province. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Kale Maslin.
That wraps up this edition of Weekend Review. Join us for CFTK-TV News weeknights at 5, 6, 6:30 and 11. For all of us here at CFTK-TV News, thanks for watching.